What's good, y'all? Welcome to my review for episode 7 of Dragon Ball Daima. We are back once again, ladies and gentlemen. Goku now finally fights off against one of the Goemon, the Guardians of the Demon World's Dragon Balls, which, judging from the next episode preview for next week's episode, looks like that's going to have some really good animation with the fight between Goku and the Guardian. So I'm really excited for that one. That fight looks like it's going to be back for at least when we see the next episode, because obviously you guys know. Now, I don't know, because like I said, I haven't really seen much of Daima. I've seen a lot of Daima in these last couple of weeks. It's been popping out with my feed a lot for obvious reasons, because of some of the stuff that's been shown off in these last few episodes. But from the earlier stuff, my feed was relatively, spoiler-free of when it came to Dragon Ball Daima. Outside maybe seeing the occasional tweet from like Toei Perfect Shot showing off some of the animation cuts from some of the previous episodes. So I'm really looking forward to next week's episode, because that fight looks like it could be really good from the bits that we see in the next episode preview. We also see that Vegeta has finally entered the Demon World, so hopefully maybe next week we'll see him in there as well, and maybe the following weeks when we'll finally see him go Super Saiyan 3. I don't know, I'll have to fact check the episode releases to see what episode that was, just to see for sure, so I know which episode I need to do a reaction for. As I said before earlier on, y'all know I'm doing a reaction for Vegeta going Super Saiyan 3. Like, that, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I am going to react to Vegeta going Super Saiyan 3. Like, that's fucking hype. But, yeah, man. Anyway, guys, enough jibba jabba. Let's just jump right into the actual episode. So, starting the episode off, actually, the interesting about this episode is that it didn't have the opening, narration explaining Dragon Ball. Like, it just goes straight into the OP after the Toei logo, which I thought was interesting. It's like, okay. I don't know if it's just for this one episode. They're like, alright, everyone knows the story by now. No need to keep this in the episode. Or, yeah, anyway, whatever the case may be, we're back with Bulma and the others, since she's trying to fix up King Supreme Kai's ship to see why it couldn't fly at the end of the previous episode. And it seems like there's something wrong with the energy converter, and that requires some mineral or something that's basically only found in the Demon World, or like an element or something along those lines. And Vegeta mentions can't you replace it with an earth element to substitute it? And she says maybe, but that would require too much R&D. So in other words, they're fucked. They are fucked. They are not leaving Earth for a while. And then she starts screaming at Vegeta, because he's kind of annoyed by it. He's like, oh, I'm sorry, Vegeta. I'm sorry about all the sleepless nights I spent reverse engineering this thing. Poor Bulma. But right as she's ranting and raving to him, that is when the fat guy, I forget his name, I completely forget this dude's name, shows up, man. He's back, and he's like, saying, hey, I'm here to pick you guys up from King Goma. Was it Goma? No, that's the other guy. From King Kodansha. Come on, get on the plane. So they get back. So then we cut back over to Goku, where Pansy gives him this bowl full of these food that are worth two. That are emergency rations that are 2 meals each. Of course, knowing Goku, that even though these are 2 full meals, he of course eats 2 of them. And we actually see his stomach expand the more he eats. And Pansy's mentioned are you sure you're a kid in there, man? Because obviously Goku has such a massive stomach, man. Literally, him and Luffy, their stomachs are basically black holes. I don't know if that is the case or not, man, because you guys know I don't watch One Piece, not yet anyway. But yeah, that's the both of their stomachs are just absolute black holes. Then we come back to Bulma, where we see the dude piloting the plane. He has his little dragon radar map that next to him to help guide him on the way back over to Sir Warp. And while they're flying there, King Kodansha calls in there saying, "Hey, checking out what's going on." He tells them that they've already grabbed the Earthlings and they're on their way back to the third demon. All right, cool. Call me back once you get back over here. So then we cut over back to with Goku and the others, and that's where Pansy notices one of the ships of the gendarmerie are here. So obviously they gotta go land and go into an alternate route to get him away from them. But they end up right as they turn the corner trying to go in the opposite direction of the ship, they've already gotten there. I met up with download one, or it was the same ship, and they're like, halt! Really? Halt! Comply or we'll shoot you down. So yeah, they're fucked. So the crew is escorted down to the ground, where they land by the 2 Jordanian planes, and this is when Pansy realized that they were able to track her through her collar, and that people in the third demon world get these trawlers put on them, and that they can track them through them. So, but as they're going on, they're Gloria, which we didn't get so bad as Goku mispronouncing his name in this episode. You guys know this big guy mentions my review for the previous episode. That it's like it seems like it's become the running joke of Daima is Goku mispronouncing his name. None of that happened in this episode. We never hear Goku say Glorio or Gordita or Burrito or whatever the fuck. No, nothing, no mispronunciations this episode. I don't know if the joke is dead or if they're maybe gonna bring it back in another episode. I guess we'll have to wait and see. Anyway, so they land down there, man, and the guys start ransacking the place. Oh, forgot about the one thing that I forgot to before I jump right in. Glorio realizes before I was like, bro, I got sidetracked by Goku not saying Glorio's name right. Glorio notices that they don't know that Goku's on the plane because they did, they probably would just gun down they would just shoot him down. So they don't know he's on the plane, and they gotta go, of course, go hide Goku. So once they land there, man, they're about to ransack the place. They tell Goku to hide in the back, and of course Pan's like, oh, but won't they find him? This, that, and the third. And Supreme Kai's like, oh, don't worry, it's fine. He'll be fine. So they start ransacking the place, throwing their shit out of there, man, and they end up not finding one. She's like, how is that possible? Literally, she just blurts out, how is that possible? I'm like, you dumb bitch. Are you trying to blow your cover when Goku and the others have perfected their scheme of getting away scot-free? Somehow they don't hear her, or they just don't care. Whatever the case may be. Anyway, Goku taps her on the shoulder, realizing he's right behind her, and then she starts freaking out again. Goku and the Supreme Kai put her hand on her, telling her to shush. And while Glorio gets in front of them to hide them, as one of the guards is like looking like whatever, and they continues on their search. Goku then fucks off and hides in some bush, while they end up ending their search and not finding anyone, so they end up deciding that they're going to leave. But before they're completely out of the woods, one of the guards comes to the Pansy and tells them that they're going to take her in for interrogation. And Supreme Kai obviously tells like that's impossible, officer, because he mentioned he thought that there was a girl that was threw a bomb at them earlier, and the dude suspects that it's her. The Supreme Kai's like, oh, that's impossible. She was with us the whole time, and he's not buying. He's like, oh, it won't take long to squeeze the truth out of her. And she he starts grabbing her arm and ready to drag her out of here back into their plane so that he can interrogate her. But Pansy pulls out a fucking taser and just tases the dude. Didn't know they had tasers in the demon world, but hey, now you know. So, but here, man, they know that they have the only way out to fight, and that's exactly what they do. I do love this one cut right here, where we see where we get a first-person view of the guy that Supreme Kai faces off with him. We see him hit him and then fall down to the ground. If you see him, the Supreme Kai and Glorio fighting off in front of the man. I thought that was a nice cut. I always enjoy first-person cuts in anime, man. I was like we saw this, we saw it in Ultraman arc. Most recently, at least for me, that was pretty cool. Ninja Kami had an amazing cut of this one, man, in episode 11, I believe. I just love first-person cuts. Whenever we get them in an episode, man, I always pop off for that one. I love these cuts. So, anyway, they make quick work of the rest of the guards, man. Two of the guys get back into their planes and start firing at them, man. Although, to be fair, they might have been aiming for this anyway. But Gloria and the Supreme Kai starts running right towards their plane, and then right when they get to it, that's when they turn around and go in opposite directions. While the guys are still shooting at them, they just shoot down and destroy their plane. Now, to be fair, they might have just been aiming for their plane anyway. They're like, get rid of their plane so that they can't escape. But I was kind of like, why don't you guys go in the opposite direction of your plane to make sure no fire would hit it? But to be fair, they probably were aiming for it anyway. Anyway, the Supreme Kai uses the Force, seemingly, to craft two planes crash into each other, man. And then a third one the third one is on liftoff. That's when Goku comes in there, man, fires a ki blast at him that said that, takes the plane out and sends it into stratosphere. It looks like it does that little star thing that we would see in Pokemon where Team Rock be like, Team Rock is blasting off again! Ding! Did that whole thing. So anyway, after that, Pansy then uses this device, which at first I thought was was used to hypnotize them and wipe their memories of this event. But no, it's just actually to disarm their communicator so they can't call in for backup. All while Goku is poking this dude with a stick for some reason. But anyway, man, afterwards, they actually do find another plane from the soldiers that hasn't been touched. It's the newest model too, so hey, nothing but dubs, right? And then Pansy realizes even though they took out their communicator, she still has the collar so they can still track her. This is when the Supreme Kai asks her to take it off so that he can get a better look of it. He realizes that it's a metal that's made from a metal or whatever that is made in the second demon world, named Catching Tight. Interesting name. I kind of like the name Catching Tight. I like saying Catching Tight. Well, no, Toriyama even came up with that. Anyway, So she goes on about these things are impossible to get off, that there's nothing they've tried that they can't get him off. And then the Supreme Kai says, hey, I'll just take care of it himself, and then uses some spell and then gets the collar off of her. We find that's actually a pretty simple spell, apparently. Like, it's not something that's like exclusive to like the Glens. And that, anyway, and we also find out that, which I thought was a little bit funny, because you guys remember in the previous episode, there was this whole segment where the Supreme Kai mentioning, like, oh, that the Glens don't actually have, like, genders, as we say, so he's not so that his sister isn't technically his sister. But I love that in this episode, he still refers to her as his sister. It seems like even Toriel probably like, okay, this is stupid, and just dropped that plot line. And, like, retcon that bit of more, like, this is stupid. I just thought that was funny that he was like, they're not telling my sister, but then he just still calls her sister. It looks like probably Toriyama himself probably thought that was like a dumb, needless plot line. Anyway, but yeah, he said that she was most likely the reason why these things are even like that created them and fashioned them and all that jazz. But yeah, she celebrates, she celebrates, and she asks the Supreme Kai what his name is. And he says it's Shin. And then like Mio, he asks like, what's your real name? Literally, when she was asking for like what his Demon World name was, I literally the first thing that came in my head was Magneto. Whenever he says like, what is your real name? And whenever he would like meet new mutants, he always wants to know what their real names are. Not their human names, their mutant names. Was anyone else like that, man? When you hear that, you just think of Magneto, or is it just me? Anyway, so he said. So anyway, his real, or I guess you could say his real name, if you want to get technical. His Demon World name is Nahare, and then she calls him Nahare. Goku's like, oh, so your real name is Nahare. He starts calling him Nahare. He's like, actually, no, I'm just the Supreme Kai. Cool. He's like, yeah, sure, that's cool. Yeah, even if Goku still called him Nahare, I was still gonna call him Supreme Kai anyway. Like, I'll stick to Supreme Kai, thank you very much. Anyway, they take off, and then Gloria realizes that they're now on another plane, which means they need another pincoat to get into Store Warp. And they'll be even if they get the Dragon Ball, they'll be locked as far as go. They'll be locked out of Store Warp if they don't get the new pincoat. So Pansy makes a call to some dude over there on the base, and no, like, did anyone else get some weird vibes from this dude? I don't know, something about his voice, man. The dude was just giving me weird vibes. Anyway, Pansy asked him to give him the pin code for the ship they're on, which I believe was like 56 of the ships. He gives her the pin code, so they're all back here, so they're already back in business. This is when they also find out that actually what's his name has already taken Vegeta and the others already into the Demon World, so they're already ready to go in there. And Pansy asks them if they want to go back and grab them. Goku doesn't. He says they don't have time, and then Springer's like, bro, we do have time. He's like, yeah, but I don't. I want to fight. Goku is impatient. He doesn't want to wait around. He wants to fight this. He wants to fight the Guardian right now. So then we cut over back then we go back to the dude. He's like, well, and the boss is telling him that he needs to drive all the way over there and meet Goku. So he's like, but boss, I have a hot day. He's like, we both know that's not true. First this dude says he has a haircut, then he says he's going to a hairstylist, and now he has a hot girlfriend. like bro, pick a story. He keeps switching it throughout this episode, the last one. Anyway, the king tells him the dinner's on him, whatever he wants. He says, I guess I'll take a large pizza with worms on it. I don't know why he would want pizza on worms on pizza, but whatever cheats their own, I suppose. Anyway, so after that we cut over back to Goku, and in the background here, man, where we see the plane as it's flying towards the town area before they go into meet off against the Tamagami, bro. The background here looks fucking phenomenal. Like, this shit, it could easily be a wallpaper, man. Like, my God, I don't know who the background artist is for this episode, or for Daima in general, whoever did this one particularly. But shout out to them, man. This background is incredible. Anyway, they land, they see the Tamagami, and we see the little Dragon Balls lost in his chest. Goku reminds him of the Namekian Dragon Balls, and he's about and so Gloria asks if he's ready to fight. He says, nah, I gotta eat first and use the bathroom. I don't know if he had to take a piss or had to take a shit, but whatever the case may be, they go by a nearby restaurant eating dumplings, which has a shit ton of them stacked together, and Goku just chows down on them. And Supreme Kai, as Goku's eating, Supreme Kai asks if anyone else has tried to face off against the Tamagami, and he says one guy came in there with a gun as big as he was that ended up dying. So Goku goes to the bathroom, he takes care of business, and is ready to fight off against the Tamagami. Right as he approaches the Tamagami, ready to fight, he says, "What do you want?" Literally shouts this thing to the fucking heavens, man. Like, Jesus Christ, man. But also, one thing before I mentioned, the music of this episode was also really good. I like the song that they were playing for both the fight part with against the soldiers, as well as when Supreme Kai covered the call. The tracks were playing both there, man. I don't know if I mentioned it earlier in this review or not, but I want to mention it right now in case I didn't. The OST for this episode is pretty good. Anyway. So, as I was saying, the Tamagami, before we get back to Tamagami, one thing I gotta say, man, I really like, I don't know who voiced the waiter guy from the restaurant as well as the Tamagami. The Tamagami guy sounds familiar, man. I haven't seen any tweets so far of, like, any new voice announcements from cast members, like, I am the voice of Tamagami 3, or I voiced it, but, like, you guys know who voiced Tamagami, because he sounds familiar, but I can't place his voice. I just like the dude's voice from the room, like, oh yeah, a guy came in here real to go as big as he was. I like his voice, man. I dig his vibe. So, if you guys know, leave it down below in the comments. But yeah, anyway, back to the Tamagami. So, Goku, so after the Tamagami's done shouting, Goku tells him, like, you don't need to yell, I'm not standing that far from here. He's like, I am Tamagami 3! And so Goku gets out the power pole, they're about to face off, and that's when the episode ends. And like I said, the next episode preview looks like it's going to have some really great animation with Goku facing off against the Tamagami, which I'm really looking forward to. And yeah, man, that's all I got for you guys this episode of Dragon Ball Daima. I've definitely noticed these reviews have been pretty short for Daima, but like, there really isn't that much to talk about, honestly, when it comes to the show, man. It's enjoyable, man, but definitely not as I guess, meaty or as much to discuss compared to, like, when I'm reviewing Hero Walker, AOT, or Bleach. Which is kind of always how Dragon Ball's been, man. It's not really known for its plot, for its story. It's always been known for the fights. But anyway, guys, overall, I give this episode an 8.5 out of 10, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like if you did, subscribe if you're new. Follow me so you feel like it. Link subscribe box below. And as always, come back for more. See you guys next time. You